Imagine standing on a mountain after witnessing the impossible. The sky stretches endlessly above you. The air is still. Before you stands the man who was beaten, crucified, buried, yet somehow stands alive. Fear and wonder collide in your chest. This isn't just another moment. This is the moment. The disciples had walked with Jesus through storms, miracles, betrayal, and grief. They had watched him heal the broken, challenge kingdoms, and carry a cross that should have been the end of the story. But death did not get the final word. Now, after resurrection, Jesus gathers his followers on a mountain in Galilee, not simply to comfort them, but to commission them. And what he says would become one of the most important assignments in human history. Go therefore and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit, teaching them to observe all things whatsoever I have commanded you. And lo, I am with you always, even unto the end of the world. Matthew chapter 28, verses 19 and 20. This moment is known as the Great Commission. Not the Great Suggestion, not the Great Possibility. The Great Commission. A mission given not only to the 11 disciples standing there, but to every believer who would come after them. All authority has been given to me. Before Jesus tells them to go, he says something powerful. All authority in heaven and on earth has been given to me. Why does that matter? Because the mission was never meant to be carried by human strength. Jesus was saying, I have already conquered death. I have already defeated sin. I already hold authority over every kingdom, every power, every fear. The disciples were about to enter dangerous places. Some would be rejected, some persecuted, some would die for the message. But they weren't being sent without authority, and neither are we. Many people hesitate to share faith because they feel unqualified. I don't know enough. I'm not perfect. What if people reject me? But Jesus did not commission perfect people. He commissioned fishermen, tax collectors, former doubters, broken people who still had questions. In fact, Matthew tells us that even in that moment, some doubted. Yet Jesus still sent them, because the power was never in their perfection. The power was in his authority. Go therefore. Faith was never meant to stay still. Jesus begins with one word, go. Faith was never meant to sit still. The gospel was never designed to stay locked inside church walls. The message of hope was always meant to move. Go into neighborhoods, go into workplaces, go into schools, go into conversations, go into broken places. The Great Commission reminds believers that Christianity is not only about receiving salvation, it's about carrying hope to others. You don't have to stand behind a pulpit to make an impact. Sometimes ministry looks like encouraging someone who feels forgotten, helping someone in need, living differently when everyone else chooses compromise, sharing your testimony when someone asks, how did you make it through? Because people may argue theology, but it's harder to argue with a transformed life. Make disciples, more than just converts. Jesus didn't say, go collect believers. He said, make disciples. There's a difference. A convert may believe. A disciple follows. A disciple learns. A disciple grows. a disciple becomes more like Christ. The mission wasn't simply to create moments of inspiration. It was to build people who would walk with God daily. Discipleship means teaching truth, showing love, living by example, helping others grow spiritually. Because changed lives change lives. One faithful person can impact generations. Jesus invested in 12, and through them, the gospel spread across the world. Never underestimate what God can do through consistency. All nations. No one is excluded. Jesus said, all nations. Not one race, not one culture, not one background. The gospel crosses borders. It reaches the rich and the poor, the broken and the successful, the religious and the rebellious. No one is too far gone. No one is too damaged. No one is beyond redemption. The cross was always bigger than one group of people. God's invitation has always been global. And that means believers are called to love people, even those who are different from them. Because evangelism without love becomes noise. But truth wrapped in love changes hearts. I am with you always. The promise in the mission. Jesus ends with something extraordinary. He does not simply give instructions. He gives a promise. I am with you always. Imagine hearing that from the risen Christ. When fear comes, He is with you. When rejection happens, He is with you. When you feel unqualified, He is with you. When the mission feels heavy, He is with you. The Great Commission was never about believers changing the world alone. It was about partnering with the one who already overcame the world. The disciples who once hid in fear would soon preach boldly. Why? Because they knew they were no longer walking alone. The Great Commission asks every believer a question. What are you doing with what Jesus entrusted to you? You may never preach to thousands. You may never travel nations. But someone around you needs hope. Someone needs truth. Someone needs encouragement. Someone is watching how you live. And maybe the mission begins smaller than expected. One conversation, one prayer, one act of kindness, one moment of courage. Because the Great Commission was never only about going far. Sometimes it starts by going near. And the same Jesus who stood on that mountain still speaks today. Go, make disciples, and remember, you are never alone.